Hi, my name is Lindsay Francis, and this is my assignment 4 teaching unit for AEP 867. For this unit, I will be using the ADDIE instructional design model. I chose the ADDIE model because of its 5 structured phases. I think they just follow a logical sequence that naturally occurs for me as I go through designing lessons and units. So it fits best with what I already do. I like that there are opportunities for revision and reflection throughout the entire process, and that the whole time you're designing your unit or lessons, you're supposed to keep the end evaluation in mind. So all of your pieces line up and work towards that common goal. For this unit, I'll be working with my first grade students to tell and write time in hours and half hours using analog and digital clocks. In first grade, most of the students that I'll be working with are 5 to 7 years old. They come into first grade with some number identification. They should be able to recognize the numbers on the face of the clock. And most of them, just with the availability of technology now, are familiar with digital time in some format, whether they've seen it on a computer or a tablet or a cell phone. So that's helpful in kind of drawing connections to their life. Physical needs of first graders, they need lots of activity and opportunities to play during the day. They're very goofy, so we need a way to channel that energy in a positive manner. Social and emotional, simple and clear explanations are definitely beneficial, and they work best in like 10 to 15-minute periods. In between those periods, it'll be important for us to get up and move around and incorporate some sort of break just to keep them focused. First graders also seek validation and thrive on encouragement, so I'll have to remember that as we're working through each lesson and really try to build them up to keep them going. As far as cognitive needs are concerned, they really like to do copy and repeat activities and thrive on, hands-on experience, learning through play and active exploration. They've got an increased interest in technology and art, so we'll try to incorporate that in some way in our activities. And they also need many avenues to demonstrate their knowledge, so creating a variety of assessments and ways for them to show what they know. For my learner objectives, I have them organized here based off of the Bloom's taxonomy different levels. So one thing I'll be asking the students to do is partition a circle and label parts of an analog clock. So the face, hour hand, minute hand, and second hand. Then they will need to match the digital time to the correct representation on an analog clock. Interpret time from analog and digital clocks. Draw hour and minute hands on an analog clock to represent time to the hour. Compare movement of the hour hand to the minute hand, and then relate telling time to personal experiences by producing a personal schedule depicting time in both analog and digital formats. My thoughts behind this were starting with something simple. I need to know if they recognize a clock. Many of them might not have an analog clock at home, so it'll be checking to see if they can even tell me what that is first, and then going through and talking about the numbers and seeing if they can make connections to how they're sequenced around the clock. And of course, increasing in rigor until finally at the end, hoping they can apply the concept of time to their life and how they benefit from being able to tell time. For the materials, we actually will need quite a few things since we do have to incorporate lots of activity and different ways to engage the students in first grade. So I'll need clock templates for coloring and labeling so they can work on memorizing the parts. The Judy clocks will be used to help tell time, manipulating the hands. Whiteboards and dry erase markers, a clock matching or a memory card type of game for stations. Same with versatile sets and time booklets, another way just to engage in some partner activities. Read aloud books, and then technology will need the smartboard, some tablets, the computers, printer to make all of my materials. And then for assessments, exit tickets and summative assessment packets. The activities that we'll be engaging in, 5 or 6 main activities that I created are partitioning a circle to recognize 5-minute increments on a clock face. So seeing the relationship between 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and how that's all separated out. They'll label the parts on the clock. They'll use those Judy clocks I mentioned to create times dictated by a teacher, and I like to incorporate with the read alouds. Write time in digital format based off of teacher and or game dictation. Match photos of digital and analog clocks with light times. And create a personal schedule depicting at least 3 important daily events and the time, digital and analog, at which they occur. So you can see an example of that sixth activity over there that says Jake's schedule. That's something like the product I'd be expecting from the students. The ISTE standards, I decided to choose for this. I chose one educator standard and one student standard. The educator standard says design authentic learning activities that align with content area standards and use digital tools and resources to maximize active, deep learning. Essentially, that's what I've been doing, going through this ADDIE process, really considering all aspects of my students and what they need to learn and figuring out how I can best teach that to them and get them engaged. And then the ISTE student standard I chose says students create original works or responsibly repurpose or remix digital resources into new creations. So I'm focusing on the create original works part here with that final personal project where they will make their own schedule and learn how to operate Microsoft Word. For the media and technology, for me, I will be using the laptop and smartboard to present daily lessons. I like to start off lessons with YouTube and BrainPop Junior videos because that's a good way to engage the students and kind of get them to settle down before I go into more direct instruction. Other interactive tools and games will be used with the smartboard. And of course, there are Kahoot formative assessments. If you've never used this, it's an online program that allows teachers to go in and make like multiple choice quizzes that students can respond to using a tablet or a computer or even cell phones if your students have those available. And the students, they will be using laptops, tablets, and the smartboard as well, going through those interactive tools and games and the Kahoot quizzes. And then I clarified a little bit on the personal project. Like I said, we'll be using Microsoft Word for that, and this will be a really big technology project for us. They will learn how to open a Microsoft Word document, create a title, manipulate all of the font, insert a table, import pictures, type text, save and print. So this is something that will definitely be like a multi-day project, but I think in the end they'll have a lot of fun putting their own personal touch on it. For the assessments, like I mentioned before, first graders need a lot of different ways to show what they know. So I have a lot of formative assessment opportunities with the Judy clocks, whiteboards where they can write the time, station observation with those card matching games, or the versatiles, and whenever they're playing like the computer games online. The Kahoot quizzes will give me really good feedback in a timely manner too, because I won't have to sit and grade papers. And then of course, when I feel it's appropriate, I'll include some exit tickets at the end of a lesson. The final product from their personal schedule that they make through Microsoft Word will also be a good way for me to evaluate whether or not they're ready to move on to the summative assessment. And for that, our final assessment will just be in the form of an assessment packet where they will incorporate, matching clocks, writing digital time, drawing the hands on a clock, all of that in a paper pencil format. When I asked for feedback from a peer, I got a lot of good compliments actually on the things I was doing. She had a lot of praise to give me. I got compliments on the structure, which actually made me feel good because using that ADDIE model has really helped me clarify and write, well-defined goals and objectives. And she complimented how well sequenced my objectives were since I used the Bloom's taxonomy there and kind of increased the rigor through the different activities and things that I'll want the students to accomplish. Also, she had high praise for incorporating literacy with math because she works with small groups with students who don't speak English as their first language, and that's a good way, she said, to keep the students engaged and kind of get that little literacy work in there too. She found all of my activities authentic and engaging and liked that I incorporated not only direct instruction, but there were partner activities and things that got the students up moving around. Students love to work with technology, so it was good that I did that. And she thought it was super cute that students get to add their own personal touches on their final project. And she also agreed that the first grade age does need a lot of opportunity to show what they know, and they actually might do better on a more informal type of assessment rather than a summative assessment. So it was nice to hear such positive feedback after all of the work that we put into this. I thank you for listening, and I'm really excited to get to go through and finish teaching this unit. And those are my references.